AJ, say it. He's waiting. What are you doing?
No, I was waiting. I was like, you weren't
that was weird.
anything, so I was reacting.
You look like you were gonna yell. We are live. Because we're going live.
We are.
What's up, everybody? It's us. It's the Triple Clowns once again at Degen Nation. This is us right here. You know us. You know Tom and Tom. You know AJ back from a little hiatus is here. The Truck Stop Burrito. And also Justin from Trip Notes that you know from our show before. And obviously with Benny and everybody, we know him. He's back. But before we get into it, we're going to do the Aqueduct late pick four on Saturday. But before we get into it, some important, stuff going on, sad stuff. But hopefully we'll get better. And Tom, can you tell us about that real quick for everybody out there listening?
Absolutely. And horse racing Twitter has its faults. It has its strengths, much more strengths than faults. One of our own is battling cancer. A lot of us know him, George Allen Bryant. He is one of the most positive guys out there in horse racing Twitter. Hell of a capper, better guy. He is really battling some nasty cancer. He's in the hospital down in Texas, I believe. Our friend Benny, who Justin works with at Trip Notes, started a GoFundMe page, and Sarah just put up the link here, and we'll share the link again. Just if anybody has a couple bucks, if they win on Randy's pick four, or pick four, maybe donate a couple bucks, give it up to help George out. Again, a lot of us know him. He's a friend of ours, and really good guy. So he's got good positive vibes going. So he's not trying to feel sorry for himself. He started his friends did. That's how good of a guy he is. So with that said, just George, you'll get better, and we're here for you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the George, and yeah, definitely do that. Think about that every time we're betting $20, $30. Throw in 10 or 15, and don't bet AJ's picks, and you can donate to George.
A lot better cause,
much of a better purpose. But on the real note, he would like me saying that, and he's always been very supportive of us. We've always try to be supportive of him, and good dude, and all the best, man. Hopefully you get what we need for you, you need, and speedy recovery, buddy. Let's do it. You can beat this. If AJ can hit Big Five at Parks, you can beat cancer.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, but unreal. George, head up, and he would love us, I'm sure. Joking as much as we do, he knows who we are. So, George, please go on there, check it out, no matter what. And thank you, Ryan, Benny, for doing that. Good for you. And so let's go on.
Yes, let's go on. We're going to do the late pick four for Aqueduct Saturday card, which starts with race 7, which is a 7 furlong maiden race, $80,000 purse. AJ, you want to hit us off?
I suppose. I'm really into this 8, the Dad's Good Runner, whose dad is in fact Gunner. Yeah. I think this horse is training really well. Put up a good number last time out. It probably just wasn't running, I would imagine. Carmouche comes on board this time around. I fully expect that number to improve and be competitive enough to win this race. Like I said, training, running the doors off and training set up for this race. I think this is a great 10-1 going into this. I looked at some of the lower priced ones like the 10 and the 2. Out of all those, the 3 is the one who kind of stuck out to me the most. Another horse training well and then coming back after that second place finish last out in a race I think is pretty similar to this one. I think it sets up here too. I wasn't super impressed with Sky and Sand, the horse that it beat in that last maiden effort. And I think that 8's going to give it a real shot up there in the front. So I think this sets up really nicely for this 3 here. And then I'm just going to take a wild card in the first-time starter with Johnny V from Breen, who, again, looks really well in training. If it looks anything like that when I get in it, hits the track, 15-1 will be a great price.
Damn.
Oh boy.
All right. Well,
See
okay.
it,
So I
you-
saw you stole something. I'm going to go right into it right now. I'm going to jump in right now. AJ, all about Dad's good runner myself. I think the gun runner boy needed the race. I think he will vie for the lead and could go for the lead. So at 10-1, give me that horse all day. And that's the 8. What is it? Dad's good runner. And I did like the 10. Sky and Sand also vying for that lead in the front. I think he was stuck on a dead rail last time, and he will improve. If you saw, stumbled in the break, didn't break very well, rushed up. If you watched the race, took a lot out of him to rush up, then got a dead rail, and ran a really, really good third, which was really close, even though he got beat by another horse. It was a good run. So I'm going to play that one too. And I'm also going to go with the 1. 2 reasons. Saez jumps aboard this horse. And Saez was aboard the 10 before. So jumps on an unraced horse, goes on the 1, never change at 6-1. And let's just put the 1A maybe in there because it's an also eligible. So if I say that now, I could get this unraced horse that Irad's supposedly be aboard. So if I'm saying it now, give me that horse too. I'm going 1, 8, 10.
1A.
What?
And the 1A, maybe.
Well, yeah, 1 is the 1A.
Yeah, I think one of them will probably get. Yeah.
Somebody gets scratched, I get the 1A
One of
as
them might
well.
get
Scratched. Unless the 1 gets scratched, and then I get the 1A. I'll take either or.
Either
it's
one,
fine.
you're gonna. All right.
I'll stick with it.
Yeah, the 1A is also eligible. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
if the 1 scratches, I think that makes the 1A
The
even more
1A
alive.
is even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both owned by Rapoli. I think if the 1 scratches, that's a pretty nice tell on the 1A.
Yeah, see, that's why I went with the 1. Justin sees where I'm going here. I'm trying to do the future of like, oh wow, smart.
Yeah, right.
Justin kind of gave my crystal ball away.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Justin.
Sorry,
No,
Steve.
absolutely. I think that was kind of my thing there. So yeah, so 1, 8, 10 for me.
Okay, 1, 8, 10. I went 3 deep as well. I like the 3 here, Matt Doyle. He's running with blinkers. I feel like this horse is just going to sit behind the leader, but I am with Randy here on the 10, Sky and Sound. If he gets a clean break, he sat second to Matt Doyle coming out. They had a really good duel in that last race. It was pretty interesting to watch. For the price, I'm going to play him, but for a price here, I'm actually really interested in this horse, and that is the 11. Life is Great.
Better than Life is Good. It's great.
Yeah. He's dropping back quite a bit in distance here. So it'll be interesting to see how he runs at 7 furlongs, which I don't think he's going to have an issue at all. We got Manny staying in the irons. His dirt figures, I think, are pretty interesting here. He could really, if there's any kind of speed meltdown here, he could really pick up the pieces. But for the price at 12-1, I'm definitely going to keep him on my ticket.
Sarah's sticking with the temperature line. That's why she did it. Trying to represent.
Thinking of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
But so those are my picks. Tom, what do you got?
That if the 1 gets in there, I'm going to kick myself. This was my hardest. This was I thought was the hardest race that we're going to cap tonight. I'll start numerical order. I really do like that 2 Iconic Adventure. Just looking at the power numbers, he pretty deep. Nothing anybody hasn't said before. And I also like Matt Doyle, the 3. I like the added equipment, which you had mentioned, Sarah. Coming off a great last race, which both you and AJ mentioned, I'm alluding to. I also like the 10. Jose and Steve are a very good combination, and ran in that same race with Matt Doyle. He looked pretty good. And I did also I went 4 deep actually here. I do like the horse that AJ mentioned, that Kelly Breen first timer, the 6. Breen is not my favorite trainer. However, he has a little bit of a knack with first timers. And the 6 also is coming off a very nice workout. Just the other day. So I went 4 deep here. I went 2, 3, 10, 6.
All right.
Cool.
Justin.
So the way I approach this a lot of times is I'll make 2 tiers, a first tier, second tier, or an A horses and B horses, if you will. So I won't cover the 10 and the 1. They're on my second tier line. You guys covered most of that. The other horse that I won on the second tier line is the 7. He's going to be a big price. Horatio De Paz gets him in his barn for the first time and entices Ortiz to ride, putting the blinkers on. And Safi Joseph previously had this horse, but Safi Joseph couldn't win a race at Saratoga. And so I think going from Safi Joseph barn at Saratoga to Horatio De Paz, and this is just anecdotal, but De Paz, first time in his barn, I know you see a positive ROI there, but he does really well with this move. And so getting Ortiz to ride 15-1, yes, please, on my B line. And then my 2 A's are I sort of have trips on both of these horses. On the 2 horse Iconic Adventure, it said he brushed the gate in the comment line, but he broke at least 2 lengths slow and raced along the rail. He was out running 5th. Then he made a big run and he leveled out nicely. And his gallop out was huge. He galloped out way past the winner. And so I think the stretch out for another half furlong, second time Mott. I don't love the rail, but I think he's going to get a nice trip drafting in behind the speed. And then my top play, which none of you mentioned, is Piccadilly for Shug, second time starter for Shug. So the trip on this horse is that he had a great education on debut. He broke from the rail, but he broke well. He took a ton of dirt. Coming around the far turn, you can see the rider already had tons of dirt on his silks. And so he was down inside taking dirt. He swung wide at the top of the stretch and he ran on nicely when he was in the clear, and his gallop out was good. And this is one of my angles. This is an angle that I really like with maidens, especially 2-year-olds. When they go from an inside post to an outside post, I think he's going to get a much cleaner ride today, much cleaner run. I think he is set up for second time. It looked to me like that first time for Shug was just an education. And so I think he's ready and primed to give his best effort second time out for Shug. So give me the 2 and 9 on my A line, with my top play being the 9 Piccadilly at 10-1.
I love it. I love your angle on the 7 too. The 9, yeah. And for everybody out there, we talked about this before. Rail horses, young horses on the rail, it's not good. You're better off being in the middle of the pack because they like to run with horses. They don't like running with a rail near them, and they got to get used to it. That's a great thing. And you're looking at the dirt. The first time dirt kicked in their face, it's different. I love that thing you just said. And the 7, I mean, what weird breeding with that 7, More Than Ready, which, obviously turf, and the action for money is all dirt. Like you're looking at like this weird combination of a horse. And what a great breeding line with that one.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
a good one too in the 7. So, yeah, nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's move to race 8, which is a 6 furlong allowance race on the turf for 82,000. AJ, who do you like here?
My top one I like, and I've got to see this horse a little bit last year and ran really well, is Bust and Shout the 9 at 8-1. Coming off the big long layoff, he was running really well right before that, especially that last effort on the Aqueduct turf at 6, where it just missed by a head. Ran a really great race there. I like this horse coming back 8-1. I'll take that all day. The 8 as well, Ring of Fire. Something I don't typically like a lot of these horses who exclusively compete in the New York bred races, is that an $80,000 allowance race is typically the same field as a $50,000 claimer. These New York breds, it seems like a lot of times. So I tend to stay away from them when it's more of an open field. So Ring of Fire coming in off of 2 really good efforts at the starter allowance level, but open. And that just entices me a little bit more coming into this one as opposed to some of these other ones like Scuttlebuzz. And then they also like the 2, Kawaii River. Kind of I thought it was a fun name. Liscano's a great turf. Yeah. Liscano's a great turf rider coming into, off of the stakes race after breaking its maiden for the first time. I think this horse bounces back nicely. 7-2, I think is a good price. So I'll take that as well. So 2, 8, 9.
All right. AJ, stealing my thunder a lot here. I like the 9 as well. Bustin' Scout. I have on here, my notes were always around if same, not better company. And I don't know what I wrote here. Great numbers could get loose on the lead. Those are my notes here. 9. And I think that's what it is. For 8-1, give me it. Could get loose on the lead. And our boys on there. That's what I wrote. Your boys on here, Tom.
Yes. Yep. And he came out huge today. He was on a bomber earlier. So credit to Trevor coming back from injury and coming back here on the East Coast and getting a big win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like him here. I do. I also agree with you on the 2. I think the Kawaii River, besides cool name, class. You need to use this horse. This is the class of the race. I got to go with the 2. You have to use this horse. And I'm going to go with the 11 here. Gins and Tins. And if you look at the other races, he closed on the 10, who's 3-1 before. And if you look at it, if he's closing on the 10, I think it was a 10, right? I got to look at this, right. Yeah. Why not? If you're going to give me 11-1, you give me 3-1 another horse. The morning line's weird. And so I'm going to go with the 11 here because he can sit off the pace and we know he can close. So if some sort of speed build happens or anything like that, at 12-1, give me it. Because I really like the 9-11 here. A 2-9. So give me 11 as well. So 2-9-11.
All right. I
okay.
went
all right.
Tom approves here, right?
Thank you, Tom, for that.
All right, I like the 6 here. Call me Harry at 4-1 with Sayas in the irons with this one. My only concern here, he's going to be battling Scuttlebuzz again, but Scuttlebuzz is going to be breaking on the side of him. And I feel like those 2 horses could fight each other and cause a pace meltdown here. But he is good. He's strong out of the gate, and that's what I like. And hopefully with him being he's stronger than Scuttlebuzz to kind of get in front of him. I also like the 8 Ring of Fire at 8-1. He's jumping up in class, but what I really thought was interesting is he does good stretch duels, and he has very strong closing speed, which I thought was very interesting here. Like I said, in case there is some kind of a meltdown, I really like Ring of Fire here. And at 8-1, I was definitely going to be playing him.
And little did you know that a Call Me Harry was a song by Art Garfunkel that wasn't made before Call Me Out.
Call Me Out, clearly the better song.
Yeah, I never heard of the first one.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
Well, you never hear of Garfield by himself. You hear of Simon by himself. But Randy is the only one listening to Art Garfunkel jamming out while he's doing housework.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. There could be there's always a bridge over troubled waters.
All right, Tom, what do you got?
Me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Come on, that's a good one at least. It's decent. But anyway, it's interesting. The 2 horses that both Randy and AJ love, the 1 in race 7 and the 9 in race 8, were my last cuts of each race. If I really loved Bust and Shout, but you can't play them all. so I didn't. That I literally have a line crossed through it. But anyway, let's talk about the horses I did play. And where do we start? We're going to start with the 1. Looking for a little bit of a price here. I saw this horse live in his first trip over here in North America. It was overseas horse. He ran at Delaware in July or August, and it wasn't his best outing, but he's a beast. And you have to remember, this horse is coming from overseas. The turf, I think it's going to rain tomorrow, so the turf might be not as firm as it has been. So we have to take that into consideration for race 8. I don't think we're going to be off the turf, but the turf might be a little different. I do like this one. It does have good dirt. I'm sorry, it does have really good turf speed as well. We're here. We're on the green stuff, and I do like the 6 that Sarah spoke about. Call Me Harry. Again, loves the green. Had a hell of a last race with Louis in the irons. And the turf was firm that day, so we'll see if he can run, but if it's not so firm. The other horse that I like, Randy mentioned 11, Gins and Dins. If I can get Irad at 12-1, I'll take that all day to the bank. But obviously, we will not get that at the betting window. Another horse that really likes the green. A little bit of a step up in class, but I'm not too concerned about that. So I just went 6-11 here.
And Keith, the only reason everybody's staying away from 4 because it's a main track only horse. So if we're thinking it's on the turf, this horse won't be there. So just wanted to answer that for Keith. Right?
Yeah, and it's one of those. It's one of those watch the weather things. AJ and I have done enough. Done enough shows where we're always getting rained off the turf, and all these also eligibles sneak in and they steal the race.
Yeah, we're in California. We don't
know what any of that is. But I did check the weather for New York, and actually Sunday's supposed to be.
It's the last muddy track you saw at Delmar.
Sunday is supposed to be nice and cold, but nice.
What does Sunday have to do with this?
Saturday.
But we're doing Saturday. No, but I think okay. Oh yeah, I thought it might rain tomorrow. So.
Yeah, they do have some wet weather coming in. I think tomorrow, but I think by Saturday it's going to be clear and so we'll see. It's just going to be cold.
See, she doesn't listen to me. See, she doesn't listen. I said it's going to rain tomorrow, so we'll see how that holds up on Saturday. That's fine.
Like they're watching Friday, and
well, all right. Justin, who do you like here?
Got it. So I think you can get by with maybe one horse in here. I really like Kauai River. I mean, he is the class. Like somebody said, he is the class of the field. He's coming out of by far the best race. And so my trip note on him is that he raced wide on the backstretch, and then he was bothered by a Cassie horse that had to take up. That caused him to take up. The comment line says swerved out 4.5. It cost him at least 2 lengths and a bunch of momentum. And then he continued uncovered around the far turn, breaking from the 11 post, which was not ideal, obviously. And I think he's going to get the exact opposite trip today. I think he's going to tuck in 3rd or 4th along the rail. I think he's going to have every opportunity to swing out. And I think he's got the best closing kick in the race. He's going to get the best trip. He's coming out of the best race. So all of those things point to a lone A for me with Kauai River. The other 2 I would consider, really, I think he can probably get through this race with 2-7, in my opinion, maybe a little bit of 10 as a saver, but the 7, I have a trip note on the 7 also. He, somebody in the comments mentioned it. He was bumped at the break and then was taken back. And then he and his rider, Lescano, proceeded to get into a wrestling match. I mean, Lescano wrestled this horse for almost a half mile. And that's doomsday for a horse. I mean, that expends so much energy early in a race, fighting the rider and the rider fighting back. And he ran on well. He was 6 wide, turned for home, and he ran on well. In his race before that, he was wide. And there's a debate that on September 19th, the inner turf was inside was the place to be, and he rallied outside to win. So I would rather have Lescano on the horse. Obviously, Rudy Rodriguez saw the same thing, that Lescano got in a wrestling match with this horse and decided to take him off. Or I don't know if Lescano just opted for it's possible, I guess, now that I'm thinking about that Lescano.
He was on the 2 as well.
Opted for the 2. Yeah. So that makes, you're right. That makes the most sense. But anyway, he gets a different rider with Franco, and that trip is enough to for me to include him off of that bad trip. And then I'd toss the 10 in there on a backup ticket. He rallied into that slow pace in the turn of events race on October 23rd when they went 23-2, 47 for the half, going 7 furlongs. And so he had no chance to close into that race. I'm just worried he's a little bit of a second and third itis horse at this point. And he's got a bad post. I hate outside the outside boxes in turf sprints. There's no chance to save ground, and you're usually caught wide around that one turn. So for me, it's a strong push to the 2 with the 7, and then a little bit of 10 at the end.
All right. 2, 7, 10. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and Lescano on the turf. I mean, very underrated almost, I feel. Not enough people talk about him because it might be one of the best in the country, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. He's so underrated. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
He doesn't get bet. He does not get bet like the Ortiz brothers. Or Rosario or some of these other
Even like, when you see like Rispoli on the turf out here.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like that's Lescano almost out there.
Yeah. Let's go to race 9, which we have the Grade 2 Red Smith Stakes, which is 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf for $200,000. AJ, who do you like?
I like a lot of them.
All right, next.
That's all I got. I don't know. I'm interested in the 3 a little bit, and then the other ones. No, I like the 3. He's been running really well since coming over. He's been around, and in all stakes company, $1-2 million. I think maybe this time this horse just gets one. I think it's due. 5-1, good price. Give me an Ortiz and give me Clement. I'll take it. 5-1. I threw the 4 in there too, just based off of the last 2 efforts. How can you not when you look at the numbers? Trying to get more of a price, I went with a 9 as well. No Word. Who's starting to kind of get back into form now as a 4-year-old. What it was looking like after a strong 3-year-old season running with like Gufo, domestic spending, every single race. Has not had the type of 4-year-old season I would imagine Pletcher had in mind coming into this year. But again, let's talk about Lescano on the turf. He jumps aboard for this one. I like this horse at a price at 8-1. And then speaking of price, I went with Price Talk as well, the 10. Fuck you. Switches Barnes, comes in, runs the doors off of the Belmont Inner Turf, comes now into this one. I mean, talk about confidence going into a race where this horse might be at its peak right now. The Lasix off concerns me quite a bit, but for 8-1, I'll still keep it on there.
All right. Well, I'll go right on board on that. AJ, with your 10.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even mention the UB ankle on Social Strategy.
I was waiting for you to say something about that.
What?
And so in the 3, he raced against Yabir, 2 times ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is impressive just because of,
We saw what he did at the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, we did. And that's a good point that I didn't notice till now.
I just have the word Yabir wrote on there. Like I didn't, it never got there.
Yeah.
I just wrote the
R.
name thinking that like once I'd seen it, that's immediately what I would think of. But
that's what my notes were. Right.
Yeah,
I know.
That's a good angle.
Yeah. I'll go with the 10 as
Absolutely.
well. Price talk. Kitten's Joy Horse on the turf. Let's go. I think this is a perfect distance for this horse. I think it's really odd. I mean, I know it's like the 7 furlong horse that we were like, oh, this would be a great miler because it closes on 7 furlongs or 6 furlongs, and then they don't. And I know that's like a thing that people do, but I really think this 10 has really not been on this distance, a mile and eighth, mile and 16th, mile and eighth, mile and 16th, and always closing, always being around. And give me an 8-1, with your favorite jockey, Tom's favorite jockey, Eric Cancel aboard. I think that's Tom's favorite jockey, I believe.
Well, it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I don't know why he wears a helmet. Let me just say that. I'm not going to say anything more.
See, that's what I mean. Gotta go with him now, especially.
Oh yeah.
But so I'll also go with that horse, and I'm going to go with the 4. I think Serve the King is just that good and can run this long. We know this horse can run this distance, and there's always a question mark at these kind of distances, like a mile and 3/8. So you got to play the 4 here, definitely. So with that being said, with everybody coming from behind in the thing, I got to go with Channel Cat, which I'm surprised AJ didn't bring up because I thought that would be his. I mean, this horse is definitely going to go to the front. His run longer, and it's okay. It just could get seriously loose. And there's one thing we all learn about long turf races. We're not Australia. They win on the lead a lot. So I got to go with that just to save my bet. So I'm going with 4, 7, 10.
4, 7, 10. All right. Well, I'm on the 10 as well. I'm not going to say much more about the 10. I am with Randy here on the 7. I mean, this horse is just raced in such strong company. And I think if this horse gets loose on the lead, if we could see the same performance as he did in the Man of War Stakes, earlier this year, I mean, he could just be a complete blowout this field. So I'm really pressing for him 7. But I also liked the 5 here, Sham Rocket, with Castellanos in the iron. He's staying in the irons instead of riding the 2 here, which I thought was interesting. They are dropping him a bit back. He's run this distance before, but I just thought it was really interesting how this horse has been running. I mean, he's coming off of a win at 1.5 miles. So obviously distance is not a question for him, but Castellano and Pletcher together, 91%. I'm going to take it 6-1. I know it's not an extreme long shot here, but for a price as well as the 8-1 and 4-1 I'm playing, I really like Shamrocket here.
I would have picked the 5 over the 2 anyway. I don't think that was a big move. Right?
No.
But I'm not a jockey.
You're a little too big to be a jockey. All right, Tom, who do you like?
Thankfully for the horses.
Yeah.
Right?
Horses that we all have mentioned. I don't want to dive too deep into any of them, but I will start out with the 4. Love Irad and Chad on the turf, etc., etc. Finished second last race. Was still a pretty good horse. Don't want to overstate anything with the 4 that hasn't been said, and I like your 5 as well. Not too consistent. Obviously, it's a step up in class, but Todd's been here before. He knows he knew exactly what he was doing, bringing this up into a stakes. This is a stakes level horse, the 5. So I think Todd knows exactly what he was doing when he raced him just at the tail end of October. And Channel Cat, this horse, again, I feel like a broken record, but this horse is all he's been in races. He is meant to be running in grade 2s and 3s and an occasional 1. The last race that he won that Sarah mentioned looked like a freaking monster. And yeah, he's been having pretty damn good workouts down at Keeneland, and they just shipped him up. I think I think if you know what the odds are, I'll put a win bet on Channel Cat as well. So yeah, I went 4, 5, 7.
All right, Justin.
Very good. For some of the same reasons that AJ laid out, I'm on No Word here. I've been waiting for this horse to break out for some time. The trip in his last was not great. He was wide the entire way. He raced on the outside, which was not the best ground on October 10th on the inner turf. The inside was much better footing. He raced wide the entire way, and he had a really good 3-year-old season. I think Todd Pletcher was really high on him. You see the domestic spending Guffaw running lines there, and this is an improving 4-year-old in my opinion. Maybe they gave him the first race off the layoff on August 6th. Ran a big race in the Bernard Baruch, and then in my opinion, the best race that any of these horses coming out of is the Knickerbocker. And so I'm taking No Word as my top play, but I'm also including Serve the King out of the Turf Classic. I think that's the second best race any of these horses are coming out of. And he had a little bit of a trip at the top of the stretch. He was hemmed in a little bit. It doesn't say it in the comment line, but he had to wait briefly enough. I don't think he was beating Rock Emperor that day, but he had to wait long enough where he was put behind the 8 ball. And so, I think coming out of 2 grade 1s in the last 3 races, I think give me Serve the King and No Word is my top play on the A line. And then I would also throw in on the B line Value Engineering, because I think this horse might be getting good at the right time. Sometimes you see these Chad Brown horses as 5-year-olds start to find their stride. Soldier Rising, this is his first time versus older company. He's faced 3-year-olds only this year. And so it's not a big deal to me at this point in the season. In the summer, it would have been a much more problematic issue for me. But it is pause for concern a little bit, especially because I think he's going to get some play. And then Channel Cat I would throw in as well, because I think he is going to control the pace in New York. Everybody's grabbing. And so if they let him go in the front, he could be dangerous. He's a classy old horse.
That's true.
So I wouldn't dismiss him. So I would go 2-9 and then a little bit. 4-9 and then a little bit of 2-7 as backups. But I like No Word here. He's a play for me at 8-1.
Nice.
Right.
Hey, a quick shout out, Red Smith. Do you guys know who Red Smith is? Who the stakes race name was after? So he's one of the greatest sports writers of the 20th century, and they got a Reader's Digest version, and you got a grade 2 named after him at Aqueduct. But yeah, he wrote a lot of good back in like the 50s and stuff, when sports writers were actually covering and criticizing people. He was pretty cool. So that's who the stakes race is named after.
Good
so
stuff.
Is he like Bing Crosby?
Oh God.
Or the Bob Hope? Those guys? Well, listen here.
Oh boy.
That's out there in California.
Wait, was that the Bird Stakes? The guy that came up with the KKK as a stakes thing, raised named after him? Are we going there? Because that's not right.
He was a senator too, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Why not?
Well, with that being
so
said,
anyway, not to digress, but we got
from 70 years ago.
They can't all be Bing Crosby, Shout out to Red. So last race. Thank you for that public service announcement.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. I'm going to turn on PBS later on and learn more.
Love it.
All right.
Get your cardigan on and slippers.
Still going. Let's go to the final leg, should we? Wait, maybe.
Do we have to?
I know we have to. This one's a tough. We got a 6 furlong maiden race on the dirt, $70,000. AJ, who do you like?
No one.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
I obvious reasons I went with the 1.
Yeah.
Just based off of numbers alone. And then I went with the 3, obviously because of the name. And also, if I throw out the last race, the main
Jackass.
Tom, it's my turn to speak. I have the talking stick, so you can be quiet. If I throw out that last race and just go off of what we've seen this horse's first time out, I think it was a really promising start coming back. So kind of gets its real second start, I guess I would say, coming back on this one at 15-1. Yeah, why not?
I don't mind that. I really don't. I didn't play the 3 because of the name, but I thought about doing it. If it was any other name, I would have.
If it was Solid BJ, or whatever it is. Clash BJ.
If it was Solid BJ, I would have bet it. I like your angle because you can draw lines through, especially early, like when you're looking at 2-year-olds that brushed the gate, and just stopped afterwards. Didn't engage is scary, but beat Hot Rod Rumble, and Hot Rod Rumble's sitting there at 9-2. Like, really? Come on. That's silly if you have a 15-1 shot. Let's face it. But I didn't play that horse. So enough about the horses.
Who did you play?
I played the 1 because, like AJ said, why not? Could be a single, but I don't like the rail here. We talked about this a little bit with a young horse on the rail, second start. He did have post position 2 on the last race. So whatever, I don't think he's going to get the speed. He might get pressed into it. So that 8-5 on the rail as a 2-year-old, it's scary. So I'm going to go with, so far outside the rail with the 2. And I'm going to play the 2 as well as a 2-year-old. So I'm going right against everything right there. I'm going to go with the 2. Back on the dirt, I think needed the races. I think it's like a confused horse, but they thought a lot of it at first. So I'm going to go with they know what they're doing. Irad gets the ride. I really think the 1 is the horse, but if I'm going to take a price, I'm going to play the 2. So 1-2.
1-2. All right. I am not taking the 1. I do like the 2 here, though. Coming back to the dirt. Had some pretty decent workouts at Belmont. The last race, he just had a rough start. He had a rough race, the entire thing. I just completely toss it, to be honest with you. But 10-1, like Randy said, why not? I also like, I did take the 3 here. He's another horse. The last time out, he just had a rough trip. So if he gets a clean trip here, I think you can see this horse perform pretty well and sit close to the lead. I like the 8 as well, Hot Rod Rumble. I feel like this horse, he's another one that's just going to sit behind the leader. So I think, the 8 and the 3, they could wear each other out. But I do like his performances. He seems to be really taken. I think the 6 furlongs is a good distance for him. It would be interesting to see him stretch out a little bit further. But also I like the 10, Thrill of It. I think this horse could get to the lead. They're putting blinkers on him, which I think they're just going to send him. So if he gets loose on the lead, then I think it could be all over for this field.
You take any more? Jeez.
Yeah, I went 4. Come on now. This is a 2-year-old race. You just got to throw some darts and hope something sticks. So I did go deep here.
All right. I feel like we're going to cover the whole.
I know. At some point, we're just going to have an all-button selection here. Tom, who do you like?
All right. Well, I like the 1. Just he's got the great combination of power, class, speed. Like both AJ and Randy said, when AJ was talking about he liked a horse because of the name, I didn't realize there was a horse called AJ. I thought he liked the 9 Caveman. But I don't like that. I don't like that horse.
Always charming. You knew it wasn't the 6.
I don't always like the 9. I don't like the 9. I do, however, with Abner and the irons. I went with a horse that nobody's spoken about yet. Is this 5 Raw Courage, coming off second off the claim. He's good class horse. Very decent power numbers, and I think with getting Javier back in the irons after my arch nemesis was on him time out, when Javier was on him, they did pretty good. Cancel did not have the best ride last time out. I think if we might get a little price, I don't think this horse is going to be heavily bet on. So if we can get anywhere between 9 and 12 to 1, I'll be happy. So yeah, I just went. I hated this race as a tough one, but yeah, I went heavy up front. I'm going a little bit light back here.
Just with the 1-5?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Justin, I'm really interested actually to hear what you have to say about this race.
Yeah, so I think obviously the race goes through Catching Cupid, the 1. But less than 2 to 1. I don't know. Breaking from the rail. I thought he was on the better part of the track that day, and I think he's going to be all of 7 to 5 or 8 to 5. So I'm using him, but I can't help but think that there's going to be a lot of speed on in this race. I think the 1's got to push a little bit from the rail. I'm not sure he's going to be up on the lead. Unique Unions, interestingly enough, the horse from Richard Schosberg that was pulled up and vanned off. It doesn't show it in the running line, but if you go back and watch that replay, he was on the lead. At the first call, it says he was 4th, 1 length off, and that may be true, but he was already being pulled up. He was legit on the lead for the first furlong of the race. So he's got speed. Hot Rod Rumble is fast. Thrill of It is fast, and he's putting the blinkers on. Clash AJ is fast. Breaking from the 3 post, I think he's got to go with Benji Hernandez. So I can see a lot of speed on in this race. And so I ended up on the same horse that Tom was on, and that's Raw Courage. I think he's going to get a good trip sitting off the speed. I love the jockey upgrade to Castellano, and there's no doubt that's a jockey upgrade. I think Castellano's riding pretty well at the beginning of this Aqueduct meet, and I think he's going to watch the pace melt down in front of him, and I think he's got a great chance to pick it up on the cutback from 7 furlongs to 6 furlongs. And then I also wanted to use the 2, My Last Mission. I would hope that IRAD would sit with him a little bit and let the speed unfold in front of him, similarly to the trip that the 5 was going to get. And that's a huge rider upgrade to IRAD from those 2 jocks who rode in the first 2, and that can't be overlooked. Unfortunately, because IRAD is on the horse, I doubt that you're going to get 10 to 1. He's probably going to be more in the 5 to 1, 6 to 1 range, in my opinion. I don't know. I've been wrong about that before. And then I don't know what you all think. I'm totally, and this is something that I have to work on, I think, but I'm totally biased against horses that I see with like $1,000 price tags. And it's not always the right way to look at a horse. I mean, there are runners that were very inexpensive purchases. So I'm referring to the 10 Thrill of It. You can see it was $1,000 purchase, and I just can't get by that. I can't get that out of my head. And so I'm biased against those horses. So I left him off. So I went 1, 2, 5 with an emphasis on 2 and 5, and then a little bit of the 1, just because I thought he was going to be over bet from the rail.
So we have to remind you about certain horses, Justin. As in, Tom, a couple of them. There is Maximum Security, wasn't it?
Yes.
$15,000 claimer
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
So it does happen.
But
I get what you're
$1,000.
saying. At 2 years old,
This horse has already
somebody
made
saw
its money
something
back
smarter than
like
me.
12 times.
Yeah.
Oh my
Like
God,
getting
yeah.
third.
Yeah.
And honestly, I had a mental block with maximum security because of that price tag. I don't know, it was somewhere between, like you said, 10 to
So
16,000.
that is a biased one.
Yeah, it's such a bias, and it's something I have to learn to get over. But there are a couple other horses that I can't recall right now that I just could not get myself to play because of the price tag.
So
anyway,
you're sort of a snob, Justin.
I'm a bit
sort of a snob.
I'm a bit of a snob. I'd like to bet on horses that I could never in my lifetime afford.
Because if I can afford the horse must suck.
That's right.
We had one of those. We had one of those last week, Randy. There was $1,000 horse. I think Matthew had bet on him, and I said, "My wife's horse costs more than $1,000."
And he goes, his horse he bought was $1,500 for his daughter.
Yeah.
I love it.
And so was Smarty Jones was really cheap, right? Wasn't Smarty Jones like five people? Was it Smarty Jones?
I
bought him for like 20 grand or
that was the Chapman family, so it wasn't.
Okay,
yeah, I don't think Smarty was
somebody that ended up winning.
But I know a horse from that era was. Never heard of Sunday Silence.
$7 grand.
Yeah. Well, nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted Sunday Silence. He couldn't get. They couldn't sell him twice, and then, well, more to come on that later. But
he was like $7,000, right? And the guy had to buy him back.
Yeah, he had to buy him back. He couldn't go to He couldn't go to Kentucky. He went back to California.
Funny side. That's what I was thinking of, Peter. Thank you. It wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't,
and, and I knew it was in that era.
Yeah. I wasn't sorry.
That was like what, a couple years before Smarty.
Yeah, but that's not $1,000.
Yeah,
no.
Still, like I still can't afford that horse.
No.
I still can't afford the $10,000 of those. $1,000,
maybe.
Couple good checks.
It's not. It's
Save
not
up for
how
like
much
a
it costs.
little
It's how much it costs for vet fees, for boarding, everything else.
Oh no, my horse is winning the week after I buy it. He's going back in.
Of course it is.
We're throwing it in.
Yeah.
3 days later, we're going and we're doubling up the claiming price, and I'm going to sell him and double.
That's right, D-Rest.
About that, D-Rest. We got something coming up, so that's it. So let's recap.
That is our late pick 4. Recap. We'll start with race 7. I think we should go through them. AJ, you want to recap your pick 4?
No.
Okay.
I gotta do mine.
Pass.
All.
I can do it.
No one wants yours anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll do mine. I believe I did the 1, 8, 10 with the 2, 9, 11. Oh, and by the way, I never mentioned in the 8th race. Sorry, I didn't know.
Too late. Yeah.
No, I didn't want.
All bets are final.
No, I didn't want another bet. Why is the 5 in the race? And if the 5 shows up in this race, I'm going to bet him because anybody looking at this race, why?
Yeah.
What race was it, Randy?
Yeah.
Race 8, the 5, Uncle Romy, 50 to 1.
What do you mean, why is he in the race?
Well, number 1, he ran like last week. Number 2, look at him. If he goes in the race, I'm betting him just because I don't know why he's in the race. So I did want to bring that up. I don't know that, but
no business.
I feel like he's going to be scrapped.
All right. So
if you take out the last 3 dirt races and go before that, wasn't that bad on turf.
At Delaware, really?
Pimlico?
That's on the East Coast. Do you know where that is?
Where Aqueduct is.
pretty close.
Mid Atlantic. It's where horses have to run. Where horses have to run through different conditions. They're not always running in the sun, surf, and sand out there at Del Mar. Where these horses a tough breed. It might rain, it might snow, it might hail, but they're still out there. They don't care. They
that's
don't
why they're
always
playing
get
on the field in
sun.
the off season.
Hey, look at Nick Sco. Look at Nick Sco. Mid-Atlantic, Maryland bred. Out there, not out there getting a suntan.
Every week we're gonna hear Maryland bred.
I know, and it's Nick's go.
Yeah.
He's never gonna go down in history.
All right, I'll go. Okay, so Randy had the 1-8-10 with the 2-9-11 with the 4-7-10 with the 1-2. AJ had the 3-6-8 with the 2-8-9 with the 3-9-10 with the 1-3. Tom had
3-9-4-10.
3-9-4-10 for what? 3-9-4. Okay.
10.
Tom, you had 2-3-6-10 with the 1-6-11 with the 4-5-7 with the 1-5.
You're good. Yeah. Like it.
All right. And Justin, we'll go through mostly just your A's and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The 2-9 with you're singling the 2 here in 8.
Yeah. Yep.
With the 4-9 with the 1-2-5.
There you go. That's it.
Perfect. And I had, what did I have? The 3-10-11 with the 6-8 with the 5-7-10 with the 2-3-8-10. That is a lot, and it'll all be on Twitter on Saturday morning. So you won't have to remember all of that rambling.
Nice.
Here we go, D-Rest. You're gonna jump
I don't even remember my own picks.
That is true too.
That is, yes.
We are the best looking cabbers.
There we go.
That is true.
But those are our picks for the late pick 4 at Aqueduct for Saturday's card. Justin, it was awesome having you back on our show.
Cool. Love it. Please invite me back. I love talking horses with you all. This was great.
This is the last
Yeah.
time. This is the last time.
And Justin
You only get 2.
And I do want to say, you hear when
What if the
Justin
pick 4 wins?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Then you can come
But you hear when Justin talks, and trip notes is trip notes. So he talks about the trips they had, and you know this, guys, that I'm always about. It's about the trip, and you hear how he breaks it down from the trips they had last time. It's a huge angle. So check out his stuff, because I do. If you're not watching the race before, whoever's writing those blurbs, I swear to God, they're fixing the races. I swear to you, they are, because they're not giving you some stuff like, or they're just doing 100 of them and they're just
very detailed.
I
detailed.
really like how you had to define that trip notes is trip notes. Like, I think we were very, very confused on what that meant.
But we hear how he talks about the trip every time. Yeah. I think people just might think it's just a cool name. I mean, he talks about the trip they had, and he really concentrates on that.
It's amazing how many misleading or inaccurate comment lines there are in the past performances. I mean, I know these guys and girls do so many, the chart callers do so much stuff, but man, it does take practice, but it is well worth it, because I think that's one of the last I don't know, frontiers, if you would, in handicapping, that you can still extract some value from. There's so much information readily available to everybody, and trip notes is still a very subjective thing, and a lot of people don't or can't take the time to watch every race from every horse in a race, or the last race from every horse in a race. So that's where I think Benny's product is really one of a kind. I mean, the work is done for you. All you have to do is read the notes and apply that to your handicapping, and I think you get a leg up.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and it's funny because we had the pleasure of going to see Benny, in the at what is it? Where were we at? The Eddie Logan, which is on after the first turn, basically at the first turn. So he would, after the race, he'd watch him go, all right, here's where it matters. After the finish line, he's watching the gallop out. Yeah. And he's saying, like, certain jockeys aren't strong enough to hold the gallop out, so you can't take effect of that. And the things you learn when he's watching the gallop out.
Yeah, he's a master
Wow.
for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing what you guys do,
Yeah.
and really like almost like weirdly underrated because everybody can go out there and read the sheets and do whatever. I mean, anybody can do that, right, Tom? You can do that. So
Probably not.
you know, it's awesome. It's awesome. So yeah, check it out, definitely. So Justin, where can they find that and everything?
It's at tripnotepros.com, and it's I don't remember the pricing off the top of my head, but usually Southern California, sometimes New York, and other tracks being sprinkled in. I know Benny's working really hard to try to cover as much as possible. But it's tripnotepros.com. Go there, sign in, purchase the trip notes, check it out. A lot of people that purchase them, I think, go back to them because it takes a lot of the work out of it for you. So and Benny's
than a
awesome
$1,000 horse.
Yeah, right.
It is, and if you put in the promo code AJ Sucks, you get 0% off.
There you go.
I just put it
You're
in.
welcome. everybody.
It weirdly works though.
I think Peter Martini's got the line of the day here.
He does.
Shoe gambles like a 75-year-old monkey with a concussion. And also, let's take this pick 4 for George. I mean, this is that in itself is the tweet of the day.
Solid. Well, it's not a tweet; it's a comment. But okay.
Yeah.
So I'm 100 years old, AJ. You didn't know that yet by now?
It's only 25 years older than the shoe.
Well, all right. Thanks everybody for coming on. Hopefully we have some good luck. Definitely, Trip Note Pro's website is in the comments. Check it out. Get signed up. It's a great product. We had the luxury of having the free month for Santa Anita in October, which
that was
awesome.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super helpful. These guys do so much incredible work. It's a great addition to your handicapping tools. And then also don't forget, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, for George, we have his GoFundMe here. So donate a little bit, donate something. You're going to blow money at horse racing anyways. Maybe spare some money for him. He's a great horse player for us. And a great fan of ours. We've been a fan of his as well. So.
Yeah. Shout out to George. Get well soon, buddy. And, whatever anybody can do. And thank you everybody out there. Peter, D-Rest, Keith, I know is always out there. Who else do we have out there? Mini Horse Baby. Steve. Everybody out there. Thank you so much, guys. You, always you, the man. And let's
Okay, so let's go. Let's get this ticket home. So good luck to everybody and see you later.
Let's do it.